WorkReady Jobs First subsidises training and employment projects through two streams: Jobs First Subsidised Training List (STL) projects and Jobs First Employment projects. The main process to apply to deliver courses on the Subsidised Training List in 2016-17 is Jobs First STL projects. A list of subsidised courses available through Jobs First STL is in Appendix A of the WorkReady Jobs First Subsidised Training List STL Projects 2016-17 Guidelines. The guidelines and a sample application form are located at www.skills.sa.gov.au under the For Training Providers tab. In 2016-17, priority will be given to submissions that have strong engagement and collaboration with employers and other stakeholders, such as community organisations, employment service providers, and industry and regional bodies. By engaging with these stakeholders, projects are more likely to respond to real-time demand for skills by employers looking to take on workers. Collaboration with community organisations and service providers often increases referrals to projects and improves the match between participants and the job opportunities offered through the project. This in turn improves completion rates and other outcomes for participants. The guidelines emphasise the importance of high-quality, industry-based, structured work placements or work experience. Work placements and experience improve work readiness and strengthen the connection between vocational learning and employment. Applications are expected to include opportunities for work placements, work experience, or other forms of industry exposure. Assisting unemployed and underemployed participants is a priority for 2016-17 Jobs First STL projects. Given the emphasis on preparatory and industry-level qualifications and the expectation of managed transition to jobs or higher-level qualifications, projects that focus on unemployed and underemployed participants for training opportunities will be highly regarded. Applications demonstrating that the project responds directly to employer demand for qualified graduates will have priority consideration. A fundamental element of WorkReady is the strong connection between training and jobs. Jobs First STL projects should, wherever possible, have line of sight to real jobs. This ensures that government's investment in training is responding to the needs of industry and is meeting the needs of people in relation to employment. The WorkReady Head Agreement is a contractual arrangement that contains the terms and conditions by which the Minister appoints an organisation as a WorkReady service provider. A WorkReady service provider is eligible to apply to deliver subsidised training which, if successful, will result in an offer of an Accredited Training Service Agreement, an ATSA. The execution of the Head Agreement is not a guarantee that an Accredited Training Service Agreement will be executed between the parties. The Head Agreement indicative terms and an online form to apply for a WorkReady Head Agreement are on the WorkReady website under the For Training Providers tab. The guidelines on employer involvement have been revised in response to feedback from WorkReady providers and employers. While an employment commitment continues to be highly regarded in the assessment process, other factors, such as the degree of employer involvement during the project, will also be valued. This approach aims to promote a true collaboration between providers, employers, and other stakeholders, such as community organisations, employment service providers, industry sectors, and regional or industry bodies. Examples of employer involvement include seeking employer input in the development of the project by identifying specific workforce needs and reflecting this in the training delivery. Being involved in the recruitment of participants for the project. Providing information sessions which provide participants with industry-relevant advice about expectations, recruitment, conditions and opportunities. Providing structured work placements. Being willing to consider project graduates for employment opportunities. Providing suitable employment under a training contract. The application form identifies a range of options for employer engagement and provides the opportunity for applicants to identify other forms of employer involvement. In addition, in response to feedback, 2016-17 Jobs First STL project applicants will not be required to provide evidence of employer involvement for all outcomes or for all structured work placement. In place of having this requirement at the beginning of the application process, this will be completed prior to finalising contracts, particularly for projects that include a structured work placement as part of the training package requirements. The application form seeks evidence of employer engagement from a maximum of 3 employers. Additional letters of support can be included but are optional. Project applications should identify appropriate strategies to source suitable participants with the ability to complete the course and achieve transitions to employment or transitions to training at a higher level. Transitions to employment means entry into new, casual, permanent, part-time or full-time employment, or for pre-apprenticeship courses, transition to apprenticeships or traineeships. Transitions to training at a higher level can, for example, involve a participant training in foundation skills and then transitioning to a pre-vocational or vocational industry course. If the participant has completed a pre-vocational course, the transition could be to a vocational industry entry-level course. Jobs First STL projects should aim to target unemployed people, underemployed people working less than 17 hours per week, and people facing barriers that impact on their ability to participate in employment. Given the emphasis of Jobs First STL projects on preparatory and industry entry-level qualifications, projects that focus on unemployed and underemployed participants will be highly regarded. Participants must live or work in South Australia, are either an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, a New Zealand citizen living in South Australia, or an eligible visa holder on a pathway to permanent residency. Participants must also have an entitlement to enrol in a publicly subsidised course at the qualification level being offered in a project. Access to publicly subsidised training places are subject to the upfront assessment of need process, and participants must meet any course or access conditions. For example, only people who are assessed to require foundation skills courses will be able to access these courses. Where a participant is not eligible for a course or has expended their entitlement, exemptions can be applied for on a case-by-case basis. Providers can apply for exemption on behalf of individuals. The exemption process considers the circumstances of the individual. Exemptions will be on a case-by-case basis. Universal or whole-of-project exemptions cannot be considered. The Skills and Employment Info Line is able to assist with information on this process. Jobs First STL projects are open to South Australians who meet the eligibility and entitlement criteria, are 17 years of age or older, and are not enrolled in school. Providers must conduct an upfront assessment for each prospective participant before enrolment, as outlined in the head agreement. The upfront assessment of need process includes assessment of WorkReady eligibility, employment service provider referral forms, identification of learning and support needs, including bridging units, assessment of suitability for the course, inherent requirements, literacy and numeracy, credit transfer, and recognition of prior learning. The process was developed in consultation with WorkReady providers and came into effect on the 1st of July 2016. A mentor program is available to support new providers to undertake the process. The upfront assessment of need process, along with tools and resources, can be downloaded from the WorkReady website. Learner support services provide case management for participants undertaking courses on the subsidised training list. Learner support services assist participants to complete their qualification by helping them to navigate the training system, address life issues interfering with their training, address study skill support needs, and access community supports. LSS is an additional support service for students with complex needs, not a replacement for normal training provider participant supports. All Jobs First STL project applicants are encouraged to contact a learner support service provider during the development of project proposals. Where there is a focus on particular participant cohorts and specific support needs are anticipated, learner support service providers can assist to plan ahead. Organisations delivering a Jobs First STL project must assess their participants' support needs and develop strategies to address those needs in accordance with ASQA and WorkReady expectations. During a Jobs First STL project, individual participants who are identified by the training organisation as potentially requiring case management can have their support needs further assessed by the learner support service provider, who will work with the referring training organisation to ensure the participant receives the support they need while training. Organisations delivering Jobs First STL projects seeking learner support services for their participants will enter into a learner support service agreement with one of the 5 WorkReady providers delivering learner support services. As part of this process, providers will complete a self-assessment on their current level of student supports. This ensures providers are providing the appropriate level of supports to students. A learner support services fact sheet is available on the WorkReady website. For further information, including contact details for providers, service agreements and organisational self-assessment, contact the Skills and Employment info line. The WorkReady subsidy is based on a co-contribution to the cost of training. Only foundation skills courses are fee-free and therefore do not require a co-contribution. In Jobs First STL projects, co-investment is encouraged from employers, industry, employment service providers, and in some instances, individuals. Please note that some awards require an employer to pay for some of the costs of training under a training contract. It is expected that providers will consider the full range of contributions available to them to support high-quality training. Submissions which include a financial contribution will be highly regarded. Projects that focus on unemployed participants who are registered with an employment service provider could examine entering into a partnership with the employment service provider and seek a contribution towards the cost of training. Providers should always consider the ability of unemployed and underemployed participants to pay. Strategies such as structuring different fees for these participants and providing opportunities to pay by instalment should be considered. WorkReady training providers are required to submit a delivery and assessment strategy, a DAS, that is contextualised for each qualification applied for. Applicants should use the DAS as an opportunity to clarify and explain how the organisation will meet the requirements set out in the WorkReady Jobs First STL Project's 2016-17 guidelines. The DAS needs to clearly articulate the proposed delivery and assessment arrangements, how the course will be delivered and assessed, and the details of staff who will be involved in the delivery and assessment of the project. The DAS should provide a clear explanation of how quality training and support services will be delivered to eligible participants and include how it will be customised and respond to employers' needs. The DAS will be assessed in conjunction with the application. It needs to outline strategies that will result in quality graduates that are well prepared to enter the workforce or to competently transition to a higher level of training. The guidelines identify the training completion date as May 2017. Where the training arrangement requires a later completion date due to a training contract arrangement, the DAS will need to identify the predicted completion date. Where a project includes training contracts, the DAS needs to clearly articulate the proposed delivery and assessment arrangements and how the course will be delivered and assessed over the entirety of the project. The timelines in the delivery schedule must align with the nominal hours of the qualification over the nominal term of the training contract. The delivery schedule will include the times allocated to the theory, that is, the off-the-job components of the qualification over the training contract period. To meet these training requirements, the delivery and assessment strategy needs to include the training contract end date, in addition to the training delivery dates. The guidelines identify the training completion date as May 2017. If providers do not indicate the predicted end dates for training contracts in their applications, the end date will automatically be May 2017. Support mechanisms for the student to meet the requirements of the course and the on-job traineeship requirements should be reflected in the DAS. Agreed arrangements between the training provider and employer to ensure success for the student should also be included. Where the application is for a qualification, which may be in a transition period to the replacement course, arrangements to manage this process for the period of the training contract must be included.